the glucose-brain connection, fueling your mind for optimal aging. Most people believe that as we age, our brains are destined to decline, slowing down, fogging up, and becoming more vulnerable to diseases like Alzheimer's. But what if I told you that this cognitive decline is not inevitable? What if your brain could actually get better as you age, sharper, clearer, more emotionally resilient, if you give it what it truly needs? The key? Stabilizing your glucose levels. Let me explain how blood sugar, the same glucose that fuels your cells, can either support your brain or sabotage it. This article is your detailed guide to understanding how food, mood, memory, and mental health are more connected than you've ever been told. By Dad. Why blood sugar is the brain's silent saboteur. Your brain is an energy-hungry organ. Despite being only 2% of your body weight, it uses 20% of your daily energy. That energy mostly comes from glucose, which is why sugar and carbs affect how you feel and function more than anything else. When glucose levels in your body spike rapidly, especially after sugary or refined carb-heavy meals, it creates a chain reaction. A spike in glucose leads to a spike in insulin. That spike is often followed by a crash, leaving your brain underfueled. These swings trigger inflammation, slower nerve conduction, and mood instability. In short, glucose instability equals brain instability. Brain fog, the cotton in your mind. If you've ever felt like your brain was stuffed with cotton, blurry memory, poor concentration, sluggish processing, you've experienced brain fog. This isn't just a random symptom. It's biochemical. 2 key studies shed light. Study 1. A 2004 study found that people who ate high glycemic sugar spiking breakfasts performed worse on memory and attention tasks compared to those with stable glucose levels. Study 2. A rat study showed that repeated glucose spikes reduced nerve conduction velocity, the speed at which neurons transmit signals. In humans, this translates to mental sluggishness and foggy thinking. So yes, your breakfast choice can literally set the tone for how sharp your brain feels all day. Irritability, anger, and glucose crashes. Ever feel like you're 2 people, one before eating and one after? There's a reason the term hangry exists, and it has everything to do with unstable blood sugar. The voodoo doll study, real science. Researchers gave married couples voodoo dolls representing their partners. Every time they felt annoyed, they were to stick a pin in the doll. After 3 weeks, the researchers found that those with unstable glucose levels stuck far more pins, indicating more irritability and aggression. Glucose crashes affect neurotransmitters like tyrosine, which helps regulate mood. When your glucose drops, so does your patience. Relationships suffer. Emotions become volatile. If you want to be a better partner, parent, or colleague, start with your glucose. Glucose and mental health, the missing link. The conversation around mental health rarely includes food, but it should. I personally struggled with depression, anxiety, and panic attacks in my early 20s. Therapy helped, but healing only began when I stabilized my blood sugar. The changes were profound. Why it matters. Glucose spikes cause inflammation in the brain. Inflammation disrupts neurotransmitter balance, triggering anxiety and low mood. Over time, this also contributes to insulin resistance in the brain, a precursor to neurodegeneration. A 9-year Dutch study found that people who became insulin resistant had an 89% increased risk of developing major depressive disorder. Mental illness is complex and multifactorial, but your brain can't stabilize emotionally if it's metabolically imbalanced. Alzheimer's, type 3 diabetes. Alzheimer's is no longer viewed strictly as a genetic destiny. Increasingly, it's being understood as a metabolic disease of the brain. Scientists now refer to it as type 3 diabetes because brains of Alzheimer's patients show insulin resistance, just like type 2 diabetics. Midlife glucose instability increases risk of cognitive decline. The 38-year study, over 3,200 participants were tracked for nearly 4 decades. Those with high glucose levels in midlife had a 14.5% higher risk of developing Alzheimer's later in life. This isn't just correlation. The mechanism is now clear. Unstable glucose impairs brain energy metabolism, fosters inflammation, and accelerates cognitive decline. How to support your brain with glucose hacks. You don't need extreme diets or expensive supplements. These 4 simple, science-backed glucose hacks can transform your brain health, starting today. Eat a savory breakfast. Skip the sugary cereals and orange juice. Start your day with protein, fiber, and healthy fats to avoid a glucose spike. You'll notice better focus, memory, and mood. Have a veggie starter. Eat a plate of non-starchy vegetables, like leafy greens or cucumbers, before your main meal. The fiber slows down glucose absorption, reducing spikes and supporting neurotransmitter health. More glucose hacks for a sharper brain. Never eat sugar on an empty stomach. Always pair sweets with a meal. Eating dessert after protein or fiber slows the glucose spike and protects your brain. Move after eating. Use your muscles within 10 to 30 minutes of eating. Go for a walk, do calf raises. Clean the house. Movement helps muscles soak up glucose, blunting the spike and keeping your energy stable. Final thoughts: build a brain that gets better with time. You have far more power over your brain's future than you think. Mood swings, brain fog, depression, and even neurodegeneration aren't just normal aging. They're often symptoms of a brain under biochemical stress, much of it caused by unbalanced glucose. This isn't about perfection. It's about conscious choices. Start small. Stabilize your blood sugar. Then watch what happens to your clarity, your relationships, your mental strength, and your future self. Reclaim your cognitive power. Want to get started? Download the free 1-page Glucose Brain Hacks PDF and reclaim your cognitive power, one meal at a time. Your brain deserves better than sugar crashes. And so do you.